What you are about to watch is a guest coaching call I did inside of my friend Sharma's community, where I talk about how to utilize AI in your content and how it's helped us generate millions of views for our clients, why creating content in 2025 isn't optional anymore, and how to actually start creating content. And if you are a business owner and you want to work with an agency like mine, where we help you with done for you YouTube and done for you Instagram, click the first link in the description, check it out, see what we're about, and let's dive in.
For those who don't know Steven, AI Top G, Content Top G, has worked with some of the craziest names, man. Bro, you work with Hasbullah, I saw.
Yeah, Hezbollah.
Did you?
Funny. I have a funny story about that too, regarding content and how he got in touch with Hezbollah and how all of that started. But yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy. So yeah, I'm excited to hear about that. T-Mac, obviously, a big
Yeah.
name as well. If you're a basketball fan, you guys obviously know who that is. So super excited. Steven, the floor is yours.
Appreciate it, Sharma. I'm excited to be here today. I have a mini presentation for you guys, and feel free to interject whenever you have a question, anything like that. I'm down to spitball, but let me just share my screen because I do have a Gamma doc that would kind of make things more visual. Let me see.
And Aboud, I think you had a question. So right before Steve starts firing away here, question?
Yeah, but it's all good. I can just ask it then, because it's completely off topic. I don't want
Okay,
to.
okay, sweet.
Yeah.
Okay, can everyone see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Cool, cool. So just curious, out of everyone here, like how many people is creating content right now on a pretty consistent basis, let's say a couple times a week? I don't know if I can see hands being raised, but okay, I'm gonna Nicholas, I see your content.
Me.
Giuseppe, Sharma, cool, cool. Cool, yeah. So content's the new wave, or it's not the new wave, it's been the wave. I know Sharma said that too. Yeah, let's get into this little presentation of just literally just create more content. Hopefully in this presentation, my goal is to convince you or break your limiting beliefs, around content and why you're not creating content so that you could start creating content to build your business and then among other things. And then I'll show you, you know, some insider secrets or not secrets, but insider knowledge of how my agency runs and how we create content for ourselves and also our clients as well. So let's get into it. So first of all, who am I? My name is Steven. If you don't know, I've been running my agency, Kyo Social, for over 2 years now. We help coaches, service providers, and celebrities create content. And this is pretty much everything from A to Z. So we help you guys think of ideas, we help you guys write the scripts, and then we help you guys edit and then do all the post-production, whether that's, posting on YouTube, posting on Instagram, TikTok, so on and so forth. So everything from A to Z. We work with clients right now like Tracy McGrady, if you're a basketball fan, NBA Hall of Famer. We work with Hezbollah. If I think everyone here knows Hezbollah, that little, short guy who went famous for, being short and being friends with, Habib and all of them. Danny Green, former NBA champion. John Anik, if you're a UFC fan, then he's a UFC announcer who's always beside Joe Rogan. And then a bunch of other business owners in the email marketing space, clothing industry, fitness coaches, sales, crypto, real estate, et cetera, et cetera. So, like I said, I want to talk about the importance of creating content, and then I want to share you some knowledge on how to start so that it's as easy as possible. So I'm just going to showcase some of my clients. This is Marshall, 300K. We help him with, some of his short form, also of his YouTube. T-Mac, of course, we help him with pretty much every single piece of content that goes out. We're the guys behind it. We work with Umar. I'm going to show you guys a little bit about Umar later because he's a big component on, everything we do around AI. He's pretty much our best case study or, one of our best examples of how to use AI in content. We have this fitness coach. This guy probably creates the most content I've ever seen. He posts like 4 videos a day. We help him with like 1 or 2 videos a day, but yeah, he's killing it. This is his Bula. It's not his not his personal page, but it's the official content page of his Bula. We run also his Twitter page. We run his YouTube, his Facebook, and then Instagram, of course. And then just some case studies with, money or direct monetary results from the videos that we have made and just honestly videos in general. So this client here, we've made him 9 videos. He got 18 to 22K just from those videos. This is the same client. He got 40 leads from one post. This is another client. He got about 9K in the last 2 weeks, but we've been working with this client for about 2 months. This is 9K, but not even talking about the LTV that these clients will bring in, right? This is actually my business partner. So we work on a couple of videos on his page. And I asked him how much video or how much money his one video made. He made, or our agency made, actually, because it's my business partner. We made close to $4,000. We have a couple more guys we're talking to. But like he said, most importantly, everyone who followed him is literally a business owner that, you know, he can talk to, he can set appointments with, he can nurture with, you know, future content. And I'm going to get into why, you know, or the indirect results or indirect benefits of content that isn't just, you know, direct sales right away. Yeah, so let's talk about why you should be posting content, because if you are not, you're actively losing money if you are not posting and creating content, right? You don't want to be in a place of obscurity, which, if you don't know, that means the state of being unknown. Everyone here is a business owner. Everyone here makes sales from people knowing who we are and what we offer, right? It would kind of suck if, you know, you offered a service and nobody knew who you were. I think we would all make money if more people knew what you did and how good you were at it, right? So
And I just want to add to that really.
yeah,
I know there's a saying, it's not whatever who you know, whatever it is, right? Or who you know, I forget what the saying is, but it's not who you know, it's who knows what you do. And the more people that know what you do, leads will come your way, clients will come your way. And the only way to do that is to put out content consistently. If you decide to put out content 1 week and the next week you're fucking cold, but guess what, bro? Like you're not really a content creator, right? So just wanted to add that in there. Everyone should know what you do.
agreed. I thought you were gonna say first, like, it's not about how many people you know, it's about who you know.
Yeah, that was the saying, right?
Yeah. Well, no, I think what you said was better though. Both sayings are right, but the saying I just said, like, with content, if you make content right, it's like, it's not about trying to go viral. It's not about getting as many people to see you, even though I just said you want people to know you, but it's about who knows you,
Yeah.
right? It's about your ICP, it's about your target audience, it's about people who you want to actually talk to, right? So both sayings are right. Sharma, I like yours a bit more, but yeah, exactly. And I do have something to add on to that. You said something about, you know, you can post content consistently, which is good. And obviously that's ideal. But if you're not posting the next week, then, you know, like, you're kind of not a content creator. The thing I have to add on to that too is, like, you know, there's a lot of reasons why people don't post content, but if you can at least get, you know, a handful of pieces of content on your page, let's say it's 5 to 10 to 20 pieces of content, and then you don't post, you know, anything at all after that, that's still better than having nothing, right? Because the point of having content on your page is that, you know, before a sales call or before anything, you know, like, someone can just go on your page, they can find out what you're about, right? They can see all this stuff, they can get familiar with you, they can trust you and everything. And, you know, you don't have to post consistently. Obviously, like I said, it's ideal, but just having stuff on your page to answer objections, answer questions, you know, show off some personality, like, just having that is a huge needle mover than just being completely unknown or having no posts or content at all, right? So that's just what I wanted to add there. But yeah, so I pretty much, that's a good segue into the next point, which is content is the ultimate trust builder. So what I mean by this is, let's say you get, you know, you get cold traffic in the door, you're booking calls through cold traffic. Now, what these people are going to do most likely than not is they're going to search you up on Instagram, they're going to search you up on YouTube, they're going to search you up on Google. They want to see, you know, who you are, what you're about, and most importantly, they want to make sure you're not a scammer, right? The best way to do this is to have content on your pages, right? This is so easy to build trust, because one, they're going to search up who you are, they're going to go to your pages, they're going to watch all of your videos. So by the time they get on a sales call, right, they already have all of their objections handled. Ideally, they have, ideally, their questions are answered to in your content. But most importantly, they're familiar with you. They've heard your voice. They've seen your face, right? When they get on the call, their guards are not going to be up, right? They already know what you're about. They've ingested all of your content. So at this point, if you have a lot of content, good content that handles objections, answers questions, you're going to turn the call from a sales call into an order taking call, right? Where you're not really trying to sell them and not really trying to push with them, like why they should do what why they should take your service, but you're more so just answering questions that they have about, any technical questions or anything like that, right? Now, another thing too with content, it doesn't just nurture potential clients and prospects, but it also helps you retain your current clients, right? So it just gets your clients more bought into what you're doing, because if they follow you on Instagram, right? Obviously you're working with them already, but they follow you on Instagram, they follow you on YouTube, you keep posting content about why they should keep doing what they're doing, you're just selling them even more. Like, yes, they already bought with you, but you're going to keep that LTV going. You're going to retain them for longer. And I think that's one part of content that a lot of people don't really talk about. And then
first question just came in, and I'll be doing that, Steven. As questions come in, I'll just stop you and then just ask them, because
for sure
it's hot, right?
Sure.
Abood.
Yo. First of all, nice to meet you, Steven.
Nice to meet you too, bro.
My question is, especially now since a lot more people are posting content and the space is already super saturated, right? For example, I'm in sales and every other person all of a sudden is a 50K per month closer handling objections and posting videos about that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Sure.
How do you come off as actually authentic? Like, how do you stand out from everyone that's posting the same shit over and over again?
Let me think. I think with that, like, yes, everyone's posting the same stuff. Give me a second.
Of course.
As Steven is thinking of his own answer, I'm just gonna kind of sprinkle in some thoughts here, right? Something interesting Splash just said in the chat is life is saturated, right? And it's true. All content that we see today is recycled content.
Yeah.
Okay. It's the same way with the music industry. I've worked with the music industry really closely because I bought masters. I bought someone's masters, right? And when I bought these masters, I wanted to look at copyright and trademark and yada 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 stuff. And essentially, in the music world, it is so difficult to come up with a song and release it without getting copywritten fucking bashes, because almost all music other than classical music is copywritten. All the beats have already been created, right? I don't want to say tempos, but like the tonalities and cadences of certain songs are already taken. So what happens is you have to get these samples approved by so on and so forth. So the same way with the content side of the world, a lot of thoughts that we have today stem from shit that we saw already, right? I know for my content, when I'm looking for inspiration to create my own content, I go to look at people whose content I resonate with, and I think my market would resonate with, and then I recreate it somehow with my own twist, right? So I don't think, I don't know what Steven's gonna say here, but I don't think you're gonna have quote unquote authentic content where you're the only one that's talking about something or you're the only one that shares a thought. And I think once we get over that, content is just, you're gonna realize that, bro, if something's going viral, just recreate it.
Facts. So with that, I agree with what you said. I would also disagree with what you said.
Okay.
That last point you said, like, everyone, I might be butchering this, but you said something along the lines of everyone's gonna have the same content pretty much, or don't focus too much on having completely new content. Yes. What I would say to Abu, to answer your question, I think it's about finding what makes you different, and I like to call these unique advantages. So, for example, your personal experiences, your entire life is different from the next sales coach. So you can pull experiences from what you've experienced in your life and then kind of interject that and sprinkle that in your content. So I'll give you an example. It's kind of an exaggerated example. Not everyone can relate to this, but it's your job to find your own unique advantage to see what makes you different. But I have Abu, you're in sales.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm working with the sales coach right now, and his unique advantage, what makes him different from other sales coaches, like I said, it's going to be a crazy example, is he used to do sales for Iman Gadzhi and Alex Ramosi. Not everybody can say that, right? So we're going to make content around that because that's his unique advantage. Something that he can talk about that nobody else can talk about. I did sales for Iman Gadzhi. This is the 10 things I learned. I closed $5 million for Alex Ramosi. This is, blah, 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 blah. So your job is to find what makes you different from the competitors and then just do that. So if everyone's making the same content, you can make the same content too, but just sprinkle your own, sprinkle in your own experiences, sprinkle in your own, personality, because nobody can copy that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the people who resonate with you, the clients who resonate with you, maybe you pull a certain string, with one of your stories or one of your experiences. Like the right people will resonate with you, and the right people will book calls, and the right people will see your content.
Gotcha. So just
Yeah.
use whatever's already working, just add my own advantage to it. What makes me stand out?
Exactly. What makes you different from other sales coaches? Think about
Personal
that.
experiences. I think what
Yeah.
Steven is saying is talk more about personal experiences, because
Yeah.
your personal experience will always be different than the guy next to you, right? Yeah, we all get the same fucking 3 objections, right? I gotta think about it, I can't afford it, and fucking gotta talk to someone.
Yeah.
Three objections over and over again. Now you can sit here and you can make fucking content about how you would handle these objections, and everyone else is gonna be making similar fucking content. But yo, maybe you talked about a particular sales call, a particular client, and
Yeah.
you tied that into this content. Well, guess what, Abu? You're the only fucking guy that had that call. Right?
Yeah.
You're the only person that went through that with that person. So I can't copy it, right? So personal experiences, I think Steven is saying to kind of lead with that. And I know Splash, you have a question, so we'll open it up.
Yeah, for sure. Great conversations, by the way. This is dope. What I was gonna talk to you about was like, what I'm starting to notice is that, let's just say someone like Hermosi goes viral, has his style, everyone copies it. Iman has his style, everyone copies it, right? Even with some of the things that you guys have done, right? I've noticed that like now, like let's just say, like, so even some of my students that are doing emails, they're literally trying to you can see where the inspo is coming from, right?
Yeah.
And what I'm trying to get here is that, like, what is the thought process maybe, like, you go through when it is coming through, because you guys kind of, I guess, in a way innovated that style. I mean, I had never seen it before seeing it in Umar's, and now I'm kind of seeing that style more and more, even in different niches or whatever. But even in that way, right, it's like, how can you, like, or what advice would you have for someone to adopt or find a style, right? Like, I know it's not going to happen overnight. Maybe you do going to have to kind of follow these, even try what these other guys did to see, like, okay, what's you, what's not you. But like, what advice would you have for you to, like, kind of, innovate where it's like your own little thing and you're not just like trying to just copy people, you know what I'm saying? Kind of being more original.
Yeah. So to provide context for everyone, we have a client named Umar. He's in the email marketing space. We make really cool videos for him, and a lot of people, his videos have blown up. A lot of people have started copying the style. Email marketers, non-email marketers, like the style is kind of blown up. To answer your question, so just to rephrase, you are asking about, what are some ways or how to think about finding a new style so that you're not really just straight up copying anyone else.
I think outside of new is just like something that's you, where it's like you're creating, and not from copying, because I think maybe just the way we are, we like, we're so used to just repeating successful actions in our kind of work, right? So it's like we are prone to just like, oh, like that's working, we're gonna try that thumbnail, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, so even when you guys sat down with Umar, like, you know what I'm saying, like, well, maybe what's the thought process? How are you guys approaching it, where it's like, okay, like what's our content, what's our style? Like, that's, I guess that's us.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, service level answer, like change the font, change the colors, like have a brand book, have a brand guide where you can follow. One thing I like to do is I like to mix styles together. So for example, I can mix a Umar style video with a by maximize, aesthetic video, something like that. But what I would say, like, honestly, we don't fully care with any of our clients too much about the style. I think we put a lot more emphasis to differentiate us on what is being said and the idea of the video more so than the editing. The editing is that's like a hard part. If you really want to try to find your own style, you have to have you have to know how like the pace of the video you want. You have to know yeah, like everything like that. It's kind of hard to find your own style in a way. But what I would say, just follow what's working, add your own little twist. So like I said to Abood, like you can copy what everyone else is doing, just add something that makes you different that relates to you. So you don't need to find a completely different style that, by the way, it's not proven, nobody's doing it because for a reason it's not working. I would find a style where you can take the style and then you tweak it a little bit where it's your style. It matches who you are. But it's still a style that is like proven success.
It's true. It's true. And let me just add to that really quickly, right? A lot of times we're so focused on being different and unique that we forget that if shit is going viral or if everyone's doing it, it's probably fucking working.
Exactly.
Okay. So a lot of times differentiation isn't really needed. Why do I want to go and fucking rebuild something that isn't really broken when I can just, it's like what Hermosi said, right? Hermosi used to say this. I don't know if he says this now, right? But Hermosi used to be like, yo, you want to make $1 million? Go look at someone that's making $1 million online and just copy their fucking offer. He used to say this, bro. He used to say, go look at their headline, look at their video sales letter, look at their customers, look at everything that they have, their scripts, so on and so forth, and funnel hack this guy, and then go do the exact same thing. And if you're half as fucking decent as this guy, you'll make $500,000. If you're a quarter decent than this guy, you'll make 250. And it's the same reason why we still to this day hear about cold calling guys, right? A lot of people say cold calling doesn't work. Cold calling doesn't work. Well, why the fuck do we still hear about it then? Because it works, but no one wants to fucking do it, right? And going back to like the design and what Steven does and like the style of content that he has, I'm seeing this content come up more and more. And rather than being like, yo, I don't want my content looking like this, I'm like, yo, fuck it. Seems like everyone's on it because it's working. And the engagement that they have is insane. The shares, the comments, right? So maybe just see, bro, like who your top people are in the fucking niche and just kind of just resemble their content a little bit and sprinkle your own little personality and experience in it.
Yeah, one more thing too. I'm going to talk about this a bit later as well, but even looking at other industries, adjacent industries, where you can see what styles that they're doing. And then, if nobody's doing that style in your industry, you can kind of take that style for yourself and be the first one in your industry, right? If you're an email marketer, you can look at, see what a fitness coach is doing and he's doing really well at. You can take that same style, that same format, bring it to the email marketing niche. With one, it's still a proven concept, but two, it's like completely different from what most people see in your niche. So that's like another really easy way to differentiate, but still using winning ideas and styles.
Thank you. No, great points. Continue.
Of course, great question, by the way. Cool. So I'll just move on. If anyone else has any more questions, then feel free to ask. But yeah, so we've pretty much already talked about this, but you want to differentiate yourself from your competitors, unique advantages. Another thing too is like if two businesses have a similar offer, but one business has 20 videos demonstrating their expertise, their authority, case studies, personality, their unique advantage, and the other one doesn't, who do you think gets the client? That's pretty obvious, right? Mm-hmm. It's just a really easy way to gain authority over people who are not posting content. And if you are both posting content, whoever is posting the most consistent and whoever is just targeting, whoever has the best videos, right? In terms of, yes, editing, but also message market fit. So are you saying what your clients want to hear? Are you saying are you solving proper pain points? Are you answering the questions that people have, right? It's about knowing your audience and then making content for them. So that's differentiating. So another thing too is you're missing out on life-changing opportunities or just opportunities in general. Because yes, it's going to help you with getting sales and getting more clients and making more money, but it's also going to help you create more connections with people who could change your life. That one business partner you needed to 10x your business, right? It can help you find or nurture that one person that you need to hire, A1 talent. We all know, we all know how hard it is to find talent, like real A1 talent, right? Content makes it so much easier to get talent bought into your business and then to actually hire them, right? You'll get invited to random masterminds, right? The opportunities are endless. So one personal example for me is before I started creating content like 3 years ago, I would be copywriting and also email marketing, right? But mostly copywriting. And what I would do is I would cold call businesses trying to offer my services. And I would record these videos just on my iPhone and I would post them on TikTok. Now, these videos were they were like me getting dragged through the mud, right? These guys were hanging up on me. They were asking me, like, why the fuck are you calling me? Like, how'd you get my number? Right? And I would be posting these videos. I would be posting content, my cold calls, my fails, everything. Now, the person I met, it was the right person. Somebody reached out to me, right? And the person who reached out to me now is my business partner. And he started working for his Bula before I did, right? He was working on their Twitter. He had like 1.5 million Twitter followers on his Bula's account. He messaged me on Twitter like, yo, I saw your TikToks. Like, I really fuck with what you're doing. Sounds like you know what you're doing. Like, let's hop on a call. And ever since then, one, we've created a really strong friendship. And two, we created a business from just my TikToks, me being dragged through the mud on cold calls, right? I met the person who I needed to meet to start this business, create this content business, get Hezbollah fucking Magomedov as our client. And then from there, we signed Tracy McGrady, Danny Green, so on and so forth. It's just a snowball effect, right? But yeah, that's my personal experience with random opportunities that are not directly related to sales, but like also meeting the right people and just getting random cool opportunities that I think is not talked enough about creating content and what it does for you. Yeah. Then let's break your limiting beliefs. Now, these are like from my sales calls and from just talking to a lot of my friends and other people. A lot of people just say, I don't have time for this. But if I were to tell you, like, you create content 3 times a week, and next month you're going to make an extra 10, 20, 30, 50, 100K. I mean, I might be exaggerating a bit, but it's going to get there eventually. Would you do it? Yes, you would do it, right? Content is literally the most needle moving task you can do. It creates leverage. It builds trust at scale, right? It shortens your sales cycles because these prospects are already trusting you before hopping on a sales call, where you sometimes don't even need a second sales call. It differentiates you from your competitors, like I said, random opportunities, and it compounds over time, right? More people will start to trust you even more the longer you post content. And if you don't have time for it, then you must have money, and then you can pay to streamline your content. And if you don't have money or time, then you're doing something wrong, right? But if you
Facts.
really...
Hold on. Facts.
Yeah.
If you don't fucking have time and you don't fucking have money, you are doing something wrong. I have this conversation with multiple people, multiple fucking times a day. All right? If you don't have time, you have money. And if you have money, you don't have time. And if you have both, or if you don't have both, okay, you're doing something fucking wrong.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why people say the first thing to do when they get rich is buy back their fucking time. It's because they never had it, yo. Right? That's why they're buying it back with traveling private, with hiring a driver, getting a fucking dishwasher and a maid and a chef to kind of fucking do everything that they got to do so they can buy back their time. Right? So Love that. If you don't have either or, if you don't have time and if you don't have money, you did something wrong. Go back, fucking pause, and reevaluate your strategy to move forward. So, good shit.
Exactly. And also, most people, everyone has time. You just have to create time for it. Like I said, content's the highest leverage thing you can do. And if you're not creating content, or if you're not creating time for content, then like do a time audit, see where you're spending most of your time, and what scales higher than content in growing your business. There's not many things. I tried creating content before and got no results. That's because you're thinking about content the wrong way. You're thinking about, oh, you want your first video, you want your first 10 videos to go viral, get you millions of views, start bringing business owners in. But it's a volume consistency game, right? I like to think of this as every piece of content is like a lottery ticket, or it's like you're putting a coin in one of those gambling machines, right? It's not going to hit every time, but when it hits, like when it goes viral, or when it introduces you to that one big prospect where if you sign them, it's going to change your entire business, a bunch of referrals, everything like that. You have to start thinking of content as not really getting direct results, from your videos and the pieces that you're making, but like also indirect value as well. Like I said earlier, it's going to nurture your prospects. It's going to help you retain your clients, and it's also going to open up random doors to random opportunities, right? But most importantly, content is not like a one and done thing. It compounds over time. You just have to stay consistent, and then you'll see results. I'm camera shy. I'm camera shy too, but I'm here to build my business, right? If being camera shy is stopping you from building your business, then like you just need to grow up. Okay, that's first of all. Secondly, you can practice and start small. I was watching this podcast the other day. Jenny Hoyos. Some of you guys might know her. She's like a insane content creator, hundreds of millions of views per month on YouTube Shorts. And what she said in this podcast was kind of opened my eyes. Like, she was also very camera shy and introverted, but what she did was she would just record herself randomly throughout the day. Maybe she just records herself talking to the camera about something random that happened, or maybe she does, or specifically her point was she did like stand-up comedy shows in front of the camera to kind of practice talking to the camera, being on camera, performing, and also just improving her charisma, right? None of these videos wouldn't go anywhere. She would just practice recording herself. That's what she did. What I did, I practiced recording myself too. I just started posting TikToks, right? I would post like 3 TikToks a day. I would get my phone. I'd talk about a random ass topic, literally anything. I just try to talk as best as I can, and then I would post it, right? If you're posting 3 TikToks a day for like a month, like when you actually get to sit down and create like content for the business, then it's going to be a lot easier. Also, there's a lot of AI out there to help you with recording, which I'm going to talk more about later. But AI with like being camera shy is not an excuse anymore, because AI can do it for you. And having no time is not an excuse anymore, because AI can also do that for you. Again, nobody also cares as much as you think. Like, nobody gives a fuck about, being cringy or, this or that. Like, a lot of people tell me like, oh, I don't want to post on my personal account, which is valid, by the way. Like, I don't want to post on my personal account because all my friends and family are like, oh, they follow me, they're gonna see my content. Like, oh, like, bro, who, like, they don't care as much as you think, right? They're not gonna judge you. Like, oh, you also shouldn't care about being judged. Yeah, last point, you can use voiceovers or faceless content too. Let me scroll back up to this case study here. This is my business partner. This one video, it wasn't even of his face. It was a voiceover, which we then just edited over. So like being camera shy, you can't be voice shy too, right? But let's go back down. Where am I? I don't know how to make it look professional. It doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be there, right? And I said this to Splash earlier. We don't really put emphasis on the editing or the production. Obviously, we want it to be peak. We want it to be A1 as nice as possible. But where the emphasis goes is in the idea of the video and also the scripting process. That's where the results get made. That's where the results happen is, what is being said in the video. Is it a message market fit? Are you tackling pain points? Are you tackling what your audience actually wants to hear? So you don't have to worry about the production, right? All you really need is the back camera of your phone, and it's good. Like if you have the latest iPhone or one of the latest iPhones, like that's gonna be good enough. The back camera of your phone, get a couple $50 lights on Amazon, get some, mics. Audio is the most important. Get some mics on Amazon too, and like you're set, right? You don't really need anything more than that. And I said earlier too, some content is better than no content. If you provide some content before a sales call where your prospect can watch before hopping on, then like the chances of closing is a lot higher than having no content being a ghost on social media. So hopefully that broke some of your limiting beliefs and you guys start creating content. Let's talk about how to actually create content. So for us, when we create content for ourselves and for our clients, it usually falls in 3 buckets, which is 1, ideation, 2, scripting, and then 3, recording. So number 1, I want you to find out who you're creating content for. So I want you to look at who your ideal client is, your target audience, what are their pain points, their desires, what do they want to hear? What problems can you solve in your content, right? This is the content that's going to move or provide the most results. What most people get stuck up on is like they create content for themselves like that they want to create, but they don't think about creating content what their audience wants to see. Okay, so 2, create a list of competitors and see how they're creating content, and also look at adjacent industries as well and see how they're creating content. Find the outlier videos, which is a video where it performs 5x their average views. So if an account gets 5,000 views per video, if they have a video got 50,000 views, that's an outlier, right? That video will perform better for a reason. So I take all the outliers and then just remake the video for yourselves. Okay. Or just, create a list of ideas where it's just a bunch of outliers that you can remake. 5, create buckets of content. I like to think of content as a funnel where top of funnel videos get the most awareness of what you do. And they're the most, tailored to getting the most views, right? So you're getting the people in on the account. You're getting the profile visits. You're getting the followers, so on and so forth. Middle funnel content is to nurture your audience. So this is explainer videos. So you get the views. Now you have to nurture the audience. So you can do videos, just answering questions about, what you do or how to solve, pain points that there's a problem that they're facing, so on and so forth. You can also nurture your audience on Instagram by doing story campaigns. Story campaigns is really great. I don't have much to say about that right now, but story campaigns is really good for nurturing your audience. You can do something called a hand raiser where you just post some results on your story and then at the end just be like, if anyone's interested, let me know, right? Because the thing is, a lot of people are lurking your account or lurking in your followers where they're interested in being a client of yours, but they're not that interested where they would reach out themselves, right? Having that little push, that little hand raiser on your story, asking them to put their hand up is a good way to capture leads. But that's middle funnel content. Bottom of funnel content the purpose of it is to convert the sale. So you can do this with very specific videos of like a case study where you CTA at the end, but a case study where you're talking about how you got a result for XYZ, like how you got this person from $20,000 a month with email to $100,000 a month with email, and then talk about the process between that. So that's the ideation part. The scripting part is, for us, we like to use AI heavily in our scripting process just because we have to write a shit ton of scripts every month. And also it's like, it's still really good quality, but we like to use Claude or Poppy. Anyone who's writing scripts right now, does anyone use AI? Giuseppe.
So I wanted to ask, I'm actually on the verge of getting Poppy. Been seeing a lot of people use it. I know Travis Stevenson, he's a big marketer, uses it. And so you obviously recommend it very much so then.
Yeah. Okay, are you just asking, like, is it worth to get it, or?
Yeah, most definitely. So, like, the way that I'm going to be producing content, it's going to be for myself, but also my mentor is like a trading influencer. So there's going to be about like 15 different individual profiles going at the same time. with his main brand with long form and short form. So I'm trying to figure out and architect the best way. I've never created a content agency. So I'm trying to figure out what the most effective way to streamline this content ideation, creation, then obviously distribution.
Okay, got you. So I like Poppy just because, okay, one, it looks sick. So you have an AI chatbot here. You can connect all of your scripts. You can connect your website. You can connect all pieces of content. The thing is, with the problem I have with Poppy is you get a limited number of credits per month. You get 2,000, and I run through 2,000 credits in like a couple days. With Claude, Claude is basically Poppy with extra steps, right? So Poppy actually uses Claude as its chatbot, right?
Okay.
Poppy is just, it's easier to use because you don't have to like prompt it as much. You can just kind of I can actually, yeah, I can share here. Let me just share really quickly my entire screen. Let's see, entire screen. And I'll show you like Poppy, or I'll show you what I do with Claude. This is like, it's pretty much the same thing you can do with Poppy, how you can connect a bunch of content and stuff like that. But if you want to have like a bot for yourself, because that's what Poppy essentially is, what I do is I create this bot on Claude where I input all of, like, let's say a creative brief for this client, all the case studies for this client, the onboarding process of this client, and an entire massive script swipe file for this client. I put it all into this bot, and then I also set the project knowledge. This is pretty important. So with this project knowledge, I basically tell the bot to look at everything, all of the product, or sorry, this is product instructions. Sorry. I tell the product instructions to look at all of the product knowledge before answering. I tell it to analyze all of the product knowledge. I give it an understanding of who the client is. And then I tell it the requirements. Like, it has to be, has to match the tone, style, formatting of this, that. And then I basically tell it not to be annoying. Don't ask questions where you can find in a project file. Basically what this is, like, I pre-prompt this bot with all of the information about this client. So when I go in, I can go like, give me 10, unique ideas, unique viral short form ideas. And like, it already knows who I'm talking about. It knows I'm talking about an email marketer. It's seen all of the ideas we have previously, and it just should, let me see. And then let's say, script out 6 for me. And then it takes like the swipe file I had before, like it takes the swipe file and it scripts it in pretty much the exact same way. Now, keep in mind, this isn't going to be 100%. It's most likely they're not going to be like 70 to 80%. You just got to tweak it, make it more, how you sound or how your client sounds. And then Poppy's pretty much the same thing, but with less steps. So without, the product or the instructions or the knowledge, like, you just kind of paste links. So that's the difference between the two.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Let me just share my screen back to the presentation. Yeah, if I were you, I would just start with Claude, to be honest. I use Claude more anyways. But yeah, basically I give Claude the outlier videos I found, like the transcripts. Let me see. Yeah, give AI the outlier videos you found and analyze the structure. But I also, before that, I give AI the previous script or swipe file. Basically everything I talked about creating the bot. So give it the product knowledge, give all of the content you want to analyze, and then ask it to generate ideas or, script videos or script. Yeah, so get the outlier video, get the transcript, put the transcript of the outlier video of the competitor or someone in another industry, put into AI, right? And then ask the AI about, like, take this form, analyze this video, take the format, take, the hook, or take XYZ, rewrite it in my industry, and then rewrite it in my voice so it sounds like you. So this is like a basic structure of what we do with AI and scripting. Now, recording. So like I said earlier, you can use the back camera of your phone and a tripod. All you need is good audio. These two mics are like my go-to. And then if you don't want to record, if you're camera shy or maybe you don't have time, you can use HeyGen. So you don't have to record it. You can just use AI, right? So what we do, our process is, it's HeyGen with 11 labs. So with HeyGen, you create an avatar. like you create a look, your avatar, right? It just needs a 2 to 5 minute video of you to create your avatar. Anyone can do that. And then 11 Labs, what you want to do is you want to create a professional voice. Don't create the instant voice, create a professional voice. You need 30 minutes to 2 hours of your voice to create a realistic voice, which a lot of you might not have, but if you do, great. And then you connect HeyGen with 11 Labs. And these videos, all three of these videos, 168K, 246K, 555K views, all AI generated. Let me just send the client in the chat so you guys can all look at them. Like the past 50 videos, I would say, of this client is like, it's straight up AI. The voice, the video. So this client, he doesn't need to do anything except say yes to the idea and then say yes to the script. He doesn't need to record. It takes him like 15 minutes or not even. It takes him like 5 to 10 minutes a week to approve ideas, approve scripts. We generate the whole thing with HeyGen, and then we just edit the video, right?
So
You
all
can
of Umar's videos are currently AI.
I wouldn't say all. The pin videos are like really old videos. That's not AI. But pretty much most of those videos there are AI. Except also, we have a couple of videos recently where we wanted to do like we wanted to do a new style and we didn't want to use AI because AI looks a bit buggy sometimes. But yeah, I would say like majority, 90% of the videos on his profile is AI. All of the videos that blew up, over 100K views are AI though.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the HeyGen 11 Labs method. Editing. You can edit yourself using CapCut. I wouldn't recommend editing yourself because it's a very low leverage thing to do. It takes hours of work to do. It's also really hard to learn. And it's just something you can hire, find an in-house editor, hire an agency. Just with the in-house editor, you're gonna have to train and manage. With an agency, it's gonna be a lot easier. But yeah, like I said, you don't need highly produced content in the first place. Yeah, that's pretty much our method in creating content with ideation, scripting, and then recording, and then also editing. But that's the end of my presentation. Does anyone have any questions?
Amazing. First of all, thank you so much for this. I'm sure it opened up the mind of a lot of people to kind of just get off this call and start playing around with AI a little bit more. I know consistency is key, but it's hard to stay consistent, is what I like to say. Right?
Yeah.
We all know this. We all know that we're supposed to be putting out content daily. Doesn't matter what we're selling. Like I said, I don't care if we're sales agencies, closers, health and fitness guys, or content agencies. We have to be putting out content. And every single day that we decide that we're not going to put out and all we're going to do is consume,
you're actively losing money.
You're actively losing money, guys. Actively losing money. And be your Instagram, your social profiles, I want you to kind of think about it as like a retargeting ad, right? It's your own retargeting ad. I try to make it a point to post every 2 hours on my story, every 3 hours on my story. Why? Because that big, ugly old red fucking profile is going to come up at the top, and you're going to read my name, you're going to think about me, and it's going to happen every 2 fucking hours. Simple as that. So you're constantly, I'm going to be on your mind, right? So put out content. It doesn't have to be nice. If you care about what people think about you, just call your mom. Call your mom and ask her how you look today. I bet she says you fucking look handsome. And that's the only opinion that matters, bro. You know what I mean?
Yes,
So,
yes. One more thing too, you don't need a lot of followers. We're not trying to be influencers, we don't want to dance on camera. We want to be business owners, right? So you don't have to make content with the goal of going viral, getting 100,000 followers. Just make content for a very specific audience. Like, I don't have many followers on Instagram. My business partner doesn't have many followers on Instagram. We still get a good amount of leads from Instagram, make a good amount of money. So
Abood said it best. Leads, not followers, guys.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Sick. I know we have a bunch of questions that are rolling in here. Who wants to start? I have a question. I'll start. So I'm sure there's, when you said putting out content, I know you said there's a few ways, right? You can hire editors in-house.
Yeah.
You can hire an agency, right?
Yeah.
Or you can do it yourself. If you don't have money, then you have all the time in the world to sit there and fucking edit your own CapCut videos, right? If you have money, the next best thing is to hire in-house editors. So, question for you, Steven, is what do you look for when hiring editors? Where do you find them? And I think you and I spoke about this on our call last week, which was there's a lot of editors that yap a lot, right? And they're like, "Yo, look at my videos. This is what I do." And then when it comes time to actually execute on our project, it's like, "Yo, what the fuck is this? This is not what I paid for," right? So, what are some best practices that you're looking for in editors? What's a typical rate you'd be comfortable as an agency owner and having the skill set of an editor yourself? What prices are you looking at with editors per video? And then secondly, when do you recommend someone coming to someone like you who is a done for you agency who just kind of wants to be like, yo, figure it out?
Yeah. So with editors, like you said, they talk a big game sometimes, but when they actually show their work or make a trial video, it's not what they said. Right. So with that, the best place to hire editors is from Twitter and Discord. I wouldn't look anywhere like Fiverr or the other one. Like they're not that good, right? So Twitter and Discord is where you can find editors. The things we look for before we even like we have went through hundreds of applications just this month probably. But what we look for is one, do they have basic level skill? We won't even reach out to them if they don't look like they can do what what you want them to do. But when I say that, like I'm looking more so not for the skill though, but for the taste. So anyone can do Mr. Beast edits, anyone can just plaster a bunch of animations on the screen, but do they have taste? Do they understand what makes videos look nice, how it flows well, right? So yeah, that's pretty much what to look for. Also, just communication. Like I would just, if you give them a deadline and they miss the deadline, then they're probably not good communicators. Or if you give them a video and they say they can send it to you in 72 hours and they don't give you any updates, like that's probably a red flag as well too.
True. And typically, how much do these editors? And I know it can range because I know editors that charge 10 grand a video, right?
Yeah.
And they're like fucking crazy VFX and da 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 da. And then there's guys that are in Pakistan or Philippines or India that are like, yo, cost me $10, I got you, right? What's that sweet range of I guess cost per video where you're like, this guy has a skill, right? He has taste, and the communication and shit's there as well, right? Because typically people charge what they're worth most times, right? Yeah. So if the guy knows I'm a shitty editor, my taste isn't there, I'm probably not going to deliver on time. I know he's not the one that's charging like $250 per video, right?
Yeah. So with that, I would disagree a little bit. I feel like a lot of editors, they don't know their worth mostly, or they kind of exaggerate what they think they're worth. The video might not be very good, but they're still charging like $100 a video, which in the industry is kind of a lot of money in my opinion. The sweet spot is, I mean, it's different for everyone. It depends on what your budget is, what you're really looking for. It depends on a lot of things. So one, like your tolerance to how much you want to spend in your budget, and then two, what's the style you're looking for. Like a lot of these factors like play a huge part in how much you can get videos or how much you can pay editors.
So typically you're saying sub $100 is the thing per video?
Yeah, I mean if you get $100 is still like a really good video. If they're not exaggerating, but yeah, sub 100 for sure.
Sub 100. Okay. Couple things here. Tarun asked, what about Indeed? Have you ever looked at Indeed for hiring anyone?
No, I think the best editors are honestly the one overseas. The ones in Philippines or India. Like, yes, you can pay them a bit less, which is, yes, it's nice. but like I don't know what it is. They're just the best editors. We've never hired an editor from the States or Canada or that's like that has I don't know why they're better editors over there than over here. UK has some good editors. UK, Europe also has good editors. Like they're always better overseas. And our best editors are from India, Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. For the 5 or 6 Indian guys on here, including myself. But okay, that's good to know. And then have you heard of the platform called Paid?
I've never heard of that, no.
Yeah, so that,
What kind of platform is it, bro?
if you guys, the guy on Instagram, his handle is no code Alex. Have you ever heard of him?
Yeah.
So he came out with a platform called Paid, and it's on Discord. And I guess pretty much what it's doing is connecting creators with editors. And so I don't know if anybody wants to just do their own research on it. I didn't know if you were able to, say good words about him or the platform. So
Okay, yeah, I've heard about what he was doing, but I have no experience in.
yeah, don't know if it's
Yeah.
don't know if it's a scam or not. Don't know anything about the guy. So I just figured.
Yeah, I don't think it's a scam. I know people who know Alex, and he seems like a cool guy. But the quality of Paid itself, I have no idea.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I know Fahad is on this call as well, and I was talking to Fahad a couple days ago about content and editors, and Fahad's an editor himself. And he told me about a really cool Discord channel as well. It's $5 a month, and it has like hundreds, if not thousands, of editors in it, and you can pretty much just reach out to them and try to post work. So for $5 a month for a Discord community, fucking can't go wrong.
Yeah.
So Fahad, I don't know if you're, I know you're on this call, but I don't know if you're listening. If you can drop the name of the Discord channel in the WhatsApp group or either on this call right now, it would be nice.
Yeah, I'll drop it on the WhatsApp group.
Amazing. And then Splash has a question. Can we talk long form content, as I know you're focusing on this much more? That's actually a really good question or suggestion, because Steven, as amazing as you are with short form content, I know your main offer is growing YouTube channels, right?
Yeah.
And then whatnot. So how different is the
You cut out for me.
Sorry, there you go. What was the last thing you heard?
How different?
Yeah, how different is creating or scripting long form content versus short form?
So it's the same process: ideation, scripting, recording, and then editing. It's the only difference is it's just longer, right? It also might be a bit harder too if you're not used to creating content. The way, like with especially scripting YouTube videos, it might be hard if you don't really know how to script, because short form you can still get good results by winging it just because there's less and it's just a shorter video. But with long form, there's a lot more that goes into it with, like you can't really randomly go. Sorry, do you use AI for long form scripting? Yes, we do. Yeah. The way we script long form though, sorry, go on.
Why? I know you mentioned Claude and Poppy, right?
Yeah.
Why can I not use ChatGPT to do the same thing?
ChatGPT, okay, it's good for research on our side, but it's not really a good writer. It doesn't really write emotionally. It doesn't really write. It sounds super AI, right? And if it doesn't, like, you have to prompt it so much more. But Claude is specifically meant for writing.
Okay.
ChatGPT is more so meant for, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's, from my experience, it's more so meant for research, asking quick questions, getting quick answers. It's more so using ChatGPT as Google, but with Claude and Poppy, it's like it's for writing.
Fair.
Yeah. But the reason why I like YouTube is because, one, you can post a video today and it can still get results and perform, 1 month from now, 2 months from now, 1 year from now.
Yeah.
Right. With Instagram, with any other platform, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Twitter, you can post a video today, and then by next week, nobody is ever going to see it unless they go on your profile and watch it. With YouTube, it can organically get views for a very long time. I posted a video like 3 years ago, and I still I like this month I got like 100,000 views, and that video was 3 years ago, or multiple videos from 3 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Didn't Robbie have like change his entire offer based on YouTube content?
Who?
Robbie.
Robbie.
Right?
Yeah. I've actually I've had
Entire
the
offer, I
opportunity.
thought.
Yeah, I've had the opportunity to work with Robbie. I can't say enough good things about that guy. I really love him. But he changed his entire offer to YouTube because I think 80% of all his business right now is coming from there, and it's coming organically. So he's spending far less money on advertising where he once was. And now a lot of it is just retargeting ads to warm audience.
Yeah. And if you think about it, like Google came out with the study, you need like 7 touch points, or sorry, you need like 7 hours of content ingested, 11 touch points before someone actually buys from you. Think about how hard how hard it would be to get 7 to 11 hours of content digested on Instagram when the videos are 60 seconds long, right? With YouTube, you can post a 30-minute free course or 30-minute videos. And like by the time somebody watches that entire video or even 10 minutes, they'll trust you more than watching a 60-second video, right? So what we like to do is we like to use Instagram for getting that initial attraction, initial views, and then we funnel those Instagram followers to YouTube to like nurture them even more.
Interesting. Abood?
Yo, first off, bro, great presentation. I appreciate all of this, and
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
Sal for always putting these together, bro.
Absolutely.
I learned a lot from these calls. But my question is, how niche? Like, when do you know you've gone niche enough with your content? Like, for example, I work heavily in sales, but I don't want to just focus on sales and closes. Like, I want to focus on businesses doing at least 100K per month who need help with their sales process, for example. Like, is that too niche or is that niche enough? Like, how do you decide?
I think that's fine. I think it depends on how you package the video. So title and thumbnail. Obviously, you want it to be optimized to get as many views as possible from the right audience. But the idea itself, you don't really have to worry about getting too niche, just because with YouTube, even with Instagram, honestly, recently I've been thinking about, but with YouTube, 2,000 views on YouTube is worth a lot, right? Like 2,000 people watching a 10-minute video of you, like you're gonna book some calls.
Facts.
Yeah. Put that in like a cost per lead, and then people will realize how much it's worth.
Exactly. I mean, with Instagram too, I used to think that Instagram, like 2,000 views on YouTube is more than 100,000 views on Instagram, which I still stand by that. But I'm also realizing that you don't need many views from Instagram either if you're targeting the right audience. You can still book calls and get leads. But did that answer your question, Abood?
It did, yeah. I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't worry about getting too niche unless it's like you will know when you get too niche. For example, I'm working with this guy. He's a dating coach. He's a dating coach on YouTube, and one of his videos is like how SMB men can book more dates. I was telling him like, yo, like what does SMB mean, bro? Like nobody knows what that means. Like that is not a good title. Like that is too niche, right?
Yeah.
Like you can say that in the contents of the video, but as a title, like that's like it's limiting his clicks and views just from that SMB word. So yeah.
True. I have Fahad and then I have Tarun next.
Yo, great presentation, man. Thanks for doing the presentation. I had a question. What editing softwares do you use? Do you use After Effects? Do you use Blender at all? And how long did it take you to like learn how to edit that good?
Yeah, so I don't edit the videos. I run an agency, so I have a whole team behind me. But my editors use Premiere Pro, After Effects, DaVinci, and that's pretty much it. We don't really use Blender or anything like that.
Got it. Okay. All right, thanks.
Wait, I think Sharma said you're the editor here?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yo, so Steven, one question I had, I don't think you touched on it. What was it? The lead magnets that you guys have, like anytime you're doing that in like whether it's short form, long form, is that something that you guys do? And then if you do, is it a part of like the same process where you're using the same like Claude system to create the lead magnet for them to then book a call? So like what's after the videos?
Yeah. So to answer your first question, we don't make the lead magnets ourselves. We just we kind of consult with the client how to make the lead magnets, and they obviously are the experts, so they make the lead magnets, and then we use them. But yeah, so one strategy we do on Instagram, this works really well on Instagram. It's using called the comment feature, or how can I phrase this? It's using a feature where we use ManyChat. If no one's familiar with ManyChat, basically we create an automation on Instagram where we tell people to comment a certain word below. For example, I make an Instagram video. I tell people I have a free guide to give you, and if you want the guide, just comment YouTube below. I have an automation that sends everyone that guide, right? So what that does is, one, it just increases the engagement of your video, and just like gets a lot of comments, increases engagement, pushes the video out more to more people. And then two, you are collecting leads, so you can look back and see in your messages box who is opting in, or your comment section, who is opting in for this lead magnet, right? You can look at them, you can see if they're qualified. If they're qualified, you hit them up like, yo bro, like how did you like my free guide? Like, did it help you at all? And then you kind of get into like, that's when you start setting them or nurturing them, like, oh, like, did it help you solve any problems? What are you facing right now? I can help you with that, so on and so forth. But yeah, did I answer your question?
Yeah, somewhat. And then I think I do have a follow-up question. I think for me, what's most important in anything I do is like attribution, right? Like I care about that a lot. And so I am curious, like, do you have any tips on, let's say someone worked with you, how you guys are attributing, you know, how many calls are coming through each video, things like that, just so you can determine success, right? Because again, it's not about the views, but about how much money you make off the video. So I am curious, like, what that looks like for you. Are you guys tracking that, and how are you tracking that?
Yeah, so we don't really have a robust way to track that. It's more so we don't really care about tracking per video. Like especially on Instagram, like, oh, this video booked one call. We just care overall in the month, like how much calls we're getting booked on Instagram. We more so look at like the engagement of the video. So if it performs better, then, you know, if we have an outlier video, like, we're assuming that's going to book more calls. And in more cases than not, that's the truth. Yeah, but the overall strategy is how we kind of attribute it to, is the overall strategy, especially on Instagram where you're posting like 5 times a week. Is like, it's gonna get really messy with that.
Yeah. So how are you determining when to pivot? Is it just like,
it's honestly just the engagement of the videos?
Okay.
Yeah, like because your audience will tell you if they like a video or not, right? The amount of likes it gets, the comments it's getting. Like, if nobody's commenting on the video, like, it's probably not a good video. Or like overall in the next month, let's say, you know, the views have went down, like, it's time to pivot.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Kinda. Sorry, I'm like stealing all the time here, but I'm just more curious because like I think I've also seen you know, like good leads and bad leads. So like I think everyone's seen the podcast with like the albino Indian, and like they're going viral. You know what I mean? And so technically their engagement is super high, but nobody watches the fucking podcast. But you know what I mean? Like, so it's like,
so for that, it's case by case. Like you would understand yourself, like the position your account is in, right? So like you would know, like, that's why I say we attribute it to strategy.
Hold on. We don't know if anyone's watching their podcast or not. That's one thing, right? Second, those guys are completely different. Those guys have an entertainment podcast, so they're just yapping shit, right? They're not really dropping value. They're not really like, here's a CTA. Like, one of the guys has a marketing agency and seems like he's doing really well in Toronto, right? But like, it's not business related content, right? So like, you're absolutely right. Like, everyone's probably seen this guy. That we share his content every time it comes up, right? And we talk shit, but we're not really using it for business side of things. So I think it might be, we're comparing apples to oranges here, right? But to kind of build off Tarun's question, pivoting and stuff like that. So your clients, your job isn't really to track the calls because you're the content agency, right?
Yeah. I mean, it would be nice to track the calls, but we don't track per video on Instagram.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
track from Instagram.
yeah, but it's also and I might be wrong here, but I feel like it's also not your job, right? Like, yeah, the
Right, yeah.
content is to the content should be optimized for calls, leads, so on and so forth. That's your job. But the whole tracking side of things, I guess it isn't. But with that said now, bro, when do you cap out on ideas? So let's just say Umar's been working with you for 3 months, right? And you're giving him 20 videos a month, right? Typically speaking, and if all 20 videos, so 60 videos are different ideas, different storytelling, so on and so forth, when do you think that it might be just a not even a real question, but like when do you think you fucking like cap out on the idea of like, of story?
So like you never really cap out on ideas just because content in the social media game, especially in the business space, is saying the same thing 100 different ways. You're still delivering the same message, you still have the same offer. You're just saying it in a bunch of different ways. And also it depends on like the ideas you have and the strategies where you can kind of take the same idea, but like kind of tweak it. So for example, one idea we had and we're doing with Umar, it's called like the founder breakdowns. So it's the same idea every single time, right? But we just choose different founders where we want to break down. And there's an unlimited amount of founders and brands out there where we can break down their email marketing service and stuff like that. So there's never really like, it can get harder to think of more ideas, but it's never really like, you never really become scarce of it. You can always think of more. I've never really had a problem of not being able to think of just more ideas.
True. Mr. Minicino.
Perfect. So 2 questions. First is what your best recommendation is for content reviewing for like multiple clients. And the reason why I ask that is because when you do have a lot of different content rolling out to multiple different pages, it just seems like it can get really messy. So what is that more effective way to do so?
Okay, can you explain that situation a little bit more again? So
I know you were mentioning that you have your clients review the content before it goes out.
Yeah.
So are you doing that in a centralized place where they're just going in and they get tagged to go look at it? They give a thumb. Like, what does that? And obviously, I know it's your business.
Okay. Yeah. For sure.
But what does that look like?
We host everything on Slack, and we have like a bunch of automations in place. So what we basically do is like we just send the video on Slack, and they kind of just approve it there. And then our backend system, we have a whole Airtable based setup where it just manages like every single video and what the process or the status of the video is.
Okay.
But pretty much it's just Slack messages.
Awesome. And then the follow-up to that is manual versus automated distribution. What do you recommend? So like, are you having your editors post to the platforms and the pages themselves, or are you having it automatically scheduled?
So we post, or honestly, we don't really post on IG ourselves we stopped posting really. We only post for a few clients, but we post manual. We don't use any third-party software or anything like that. I definitely don't want my editors posting from India or Philippines or Pakistan, because then like you're just gonna fuck up the whole demographic of the account. Yeah.
True.
That's a thing, right? That is a thing.
It is a thing. Yeah.
That is a thing.
100%.
I know for the most visible thing is TikTok. It's so scary, right? Like, I don't know how many people have TikToks on their phone and you guys travel and shit, but like taking your phone to a new destination and within like 2.3 seconds of fucking coming off the plane, all of a sudden all my content is fucking of that region, right? So it's definitely a thing, 100%. Shu said something really interesting here. He said, Sam Ovens has also said that content should be your main form of lead gen eventually. There you
go. And it doesn't happen right away, right? So that's why it's better to start now sooner than later, so eventually content will replace every single other piece of lead form if need be. But if that's the case, if it's eventually going to replace, if it's eventually going to be the main source of lead gen, it takes time to get that set up.
And then for those who are probably looking into what happens if there's a bunch of leads that are commenting under your post, maybe you guys don't have appointment setters, so on and so forth. Shu just dropped a really good software, which is called ManyChat. It's an automation. You get it hooked up to your Instagram, and then obviously AI starts speaking to the platform and doing its thing. Next question comes from Splash.
Yo, I don't know if you already touched on it. I know you talked about the softwares that your editors use, but like, are any of them using AI?
AI,
like
AI to edit?
Yeah, AI tools or AI like technology to edit right now, or to make their process more efficient. And like, that's part one. And then I guess part two would be like, I'm assuming you guys are like, being a content agency, experimenting with these different tools. I'm curious to hear like, what are your thoughts on the advancements of these, and like when you like what might even like the future look like? You know what I'm saying? I don't like. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
like,
no,
like we're seeing
100%.
it in like the email world, right? Like how it's, I guess, like advancing, whatever. Like I'm curious in the content world for you. Like I'm curious like your predictions on the future and such.
Yeah. So to answer part one of your question, do any of my editors use anything AI to help with streamline process of editing? Some of my editors use v.io to help with just the captions, but that's it. We don't really use anything else. And then to answer part two of your question, which is what do I think about the advancement of AI in content? So AI has already taken over, helping you with ideas, scripting, even recording. The editing part is probably the hardest thing for AI to take over because, like I said earlier, it takes a lot of taste to know how to edit, to do it properly and efficiently, and also like make it look good. I don't think AI is going to take over editing anytime soon. I know we have Opus AI for clipping long form, and they edit too. It's straight garbage though. Opus is garbage. Every other like short form clipping thing is pretty garbage. Like if you want a really good, nice, professional looking video, like it has to be manual editing. I don't think AI is going to take over anytime soon for just that.
And I think there's a big fucking reason behind that, and a really big reason behind that is taste, right?
Yeah.
The same way ChatGPT cannot write with emotion and tonality just yet, the same way AI editing tools and apps cannot pick up on taste, right?
Exactly.
And they can't pick up on like the perfect fucking time to split a scene, and like, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And like, so on and so forth. So I think what's going to happen is the editors are going to benefit tremendously with these AI tools to help with editing, but it will never phase out editors completely. Even now, the guys that are using HeyGen, the next thing they ask after I put them onto HeyGen is, yo, where can I take this video and have like B-roll shit added to it and so on and so forth? Can I use InVideo, right? Or can I use Opus, or can I use CapCut? And it's like, yeah, you can, but it's still going to be a lot of manual work that you got to put in, right? And you may not like what AI spits out. For me, I'm very diligent on what I put out on social media because I like to keep a larger than life fucking aura, right? That's just who I am. And for me, I've fucked around with AI plenty of times, and AI cannot do that for me just yet, right? So I need that human touch to kind of sprinkle in there, who understands me, who understands my style as well. So sure, there's a lot of tools out there that can help us, but I don't think those tools are meant to help business owners like you and I think they're more meant to help people like the guys that Steven's employing, or I'm employing, or Fahad is employing.
Exactly. Well put. Well put.
You know? Abood, I know you have a question.
Yo, one last question before I hop off. And if you did touch on this during the call, apologies for being repetitive because I had to hop off for a few minutes.
All good.
So right now I'm helping a business scale through their sales processes. And I wanted to ask you from a content strategy perspective, do you think it'd be a good idea to just document all the challenges that they're facing that I'm helping them solve? Because I feel like other businesses are probably running into the same stuff.
100 fucking percent yes.
Mhm.
100 fucking percent.
Okay.
Yeah. I want you to take all those problems that you're solving, make some short form with it, make a YouTube video on how to solve it, and then
Mhm.
people will pay you for the implementation.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
100%.
Thank you. I gotta hop off, but this was great, guys. Appreciate it.
There's
course.
a tool I just posted. It's called I think it's
Autopod.
called Autopod. Yeah, it's morely for editors, but what it allows you to do is, let's say you have an hour-long podcast and you have two cameras. It can do up to
Mm.
4 cameras. It'll cut it for you by itself, the whole podcast, which
wow.
used to take like an hour, 2 hours to cut the podcast. Now it does it automatically.
Okay, is it good? And like, does it cut out stutters? Does it cut out?
It cuts out, yeah, like most of the BS that you'd have to cut out manually.
Interesting. I'm
And
gonna
it
look
like
into this.
it knows when to switch the camera from one cam to the next cam. It's pretty good. And it does it in like 2 minutes, bro.
Yeah,
That's
pretty
amazing.
cool.
Yeah, it's like what I'm saying, right? Like there's so many cool tools out there that are going to benefit the end user, which is the editors, not people like us, right?
Exactly.
So before we end up the call, I know we went a little bit over. Thank you so much to everyone who actually stayed towards the end of the call. Before we wrap up here, any other questions that you guys want to ask Steven? Now's the time. You're good.
Content wise, what should we look forward to, I guess, for 2025? The changes that's coming, maybe trends. I would just like to hear like what you are excited for this year, just in your industry.
This year?
Yeah.
That's a good question. Let me think about that. I think content is kind of like a pendulum, like with how it works. So there was a big wave of like, oh, having authentic looking content, no edits, especially on YouTube, no edits, just like straight raw reality of XYZ. And then it went to like hyper edited content on YouTube, also short form as well. It's the same pendulum, like hyper edited videos. And I think it slowly just keeps going back and forth. And then I think if you can just follow the pendulum and hit it where the market is right now, I think you would do well. I also have another thought too. I think it's also good to go against the grain sometimes. You don't always want to be copying what people are doing. I think you want to do what's working, but you also want to try new things and go against the grain, for sure.
One last question, Steven. Sorry.
What up?
What would you recommend as far as posting lifestyle content with the business content? Because what I've noticed being around some influencers that a lot of them are bullshitters, and a lot of them don't actually have the life that they say they have. And I actually want to show people what I preach freedom. Like that's one of my thing is freedom. I want to show people how to achieve that and just show my life. So what would you say is like how much lifestyle content versus business content would you recommend?
If you really want to do lifestyle content, I would keep it to a minimum of like 20%, because like your ideal clients don't give a fuck about your day in the life, right? They want the problem solved. I think it's important to show personality and show who you are, but I don't necessarily think posting day in the life content or stuff like that is any beneficial to you.
Okay.
Yeah, I think if you can do it in a way where you're still providing value to potential clients, then it's good. But I wouldn't try to do it too much, because, like I said, you don't want to be an influencer or anything like that. You want to make money. You want to be a business owner.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you.
Cool. All right, guys, I do have a call in a minute, so I'll let you close this out, Sharma.
Absolutely. Thank you so much to everyone who joined today. Special shout out to Steven. He was an abundance of knowledge for absolutely everyone today. He didn't gatekeep anything, which I love. Steven can be found on my socials. Just type in Steven and you'll see who I follow. I think it's the only Steven I know. So please give him a follow. Please DM him if you guys are looking for an agency to work with. He is an absolute master of what he does. I couldn't recommend him enough. So please hit him up if you need him. But once again, thank you so much for your time today, Steven.
Thank you, Sharma. Thank you, everyone who came and listened to my presentation. Thank you, guys.
Let's go, guys.
Appreciate it. Peace out.